I'm grateful that my recurring nightmares are not about being chased by monsters or things like that. Mine, one of which I had last night, are about still being in school and not yet having graduated, or being in some dull office job, some boring job, and being stuck there, and then realizing I work for myself, which is true in real life, and that I don't have to be there anymore. But I had a dream about being in school still, and it's always about still needing another class or two or another semester or something to graduate. And although I would rather sometimes feel like I could do without dreams, I just want to be in the present and not deal with my unconscious stuff, like whatever lingers from the past. But I do ultimately surrender to the fact that what comes up during dreams and what comes up during nightmares is useful if it's analyzed and if it's understood. And I believe that the reason that these dreams about being stuck in school or stuck in some deadening work come up for me is that these issues have a lot to do with my purpose, which is to question the way people are living. I mean, look at how different life was in the 1950s. That is so short, historically speaking. That's such a short time ago. And imagine how things are going to be changing even more rapidly as we have access to more information and aren't just limited by our family, our local community, our local library, but can access anything that we want. Things are changing and evolving, and I think we have to question systems that are in place, such as traditional schools, and you're free right now to question traditional work. So many people look at work the way a child goes to a parent, and they say, "Please employ me." But, we have a history of people being entrepreneurs historically, in which they look for a need and they try to fill it. And maybe a lot of them carried on, some family tradition, but a lot of people just adapted to what was needed and learned how to provide something that was useful. And we can do that now. I know that for a long time after I graduated from college, I just felt like entrepreneurship was not an option because I didn't know enough. I didn't know how difficult filling out my own taxes would be, which is really not difficult at all. Anybody, I think, with a high school education can figure that out pretty simply. And so I think that limiting ourselves through work that does not reward us keeps us in a feeling of numbness. And then I think it ages us to the point where if we spend our whole life doing work we don't want to do, then by the time we retire and have freedom, we're too worn down energetically a lot of times and have to undo the damage that was done. If we're going to get back to any kind of healthiness, we have to heal from all that deadening behavior of setting an alarm clock and going in and being where you don't want to be and doing what you don't want to do. So I think that when I first started questioning that and decided to work for myself about 12 years ago, it felt guided, it felt like something I had to do. And sure, it's not for everyone, and not all jobs are bad, but a lot of people really don't like what they do. And that is imprisoning yourself. That is keeping yourself unhappy with no good reason for doing that. And I think that mentality is instilled when you're forced to go to school around the age of 5 or whatever, earlier than that even, and just stay in there, for many, many years and to do things you don't want to do. And I recently came across this concept of cyber school. This guy was on David Letterman, who's still in high school, and he said he did cyber school because he travels a lot. He was a former American Idol contestant, and I thought, how cool, cyber school. Some people, I'm not saying, nobody should go to traditional school, but I think that people that are sensitive, like myself, the way I'm still processing through that stuck in school feeling is symbolically about undoing the socialization and adaptation that occurred in that kind of environment. Because I, like most people, I believe, adapted greatly to survive and fit in socially and that kind of thing. I was not a big, strong adapter, but I did adapt more than I wanted to, and I certainly didn't want to be in that environment. And I think it's a very unnatural way to learn to just sit in a chair, sit in an uncomfortable chair at a desk or table, and just focus your attention that much on things you're not interested in. It does not feel like a very organic, natural way of exploring the world and learning about the world. So I think that more and more people, first of all, I think more and more people are going to question having children, but for those, because there's so many other things to do with that energy, and I think a lot of people that are here to help the world are going to want to keep their energies freed up for a lot of other things, but some people are still going to be drawn towards having children. And if they do, I would encourage them to look at homeschooling, schooling through the internet, forming collectives with other people who are interested in non-traditional schooling systems. So it could be a social component, but not putting people around, not putting children around abrasive people, not putting children around annoying, unconscious, aggressive people. That there's no, need for that, and it's a very abrasive experience for children to have to adapt to unconsciousness if they are more self-aware and sensitive and so forth. So the big systems of school and work, which occupy so much of the central focus of our life from the ages of 5 through 65 or whatever, they need to be questioned, because for a lot of people, they're not effective, they're not rewarding. So I think self-empowerment and doing things in more creative ways is going to liberate people and help them enjoy their life more, and that it starts with good parenting and it continues on with self-parenting, being able to create work for yourself that you truly enjoy, that keeps your life feeling good and free and flexible and enjoyable, and it's up to you.